really get into the Christmas spirit, and they're coming in with their venti mocha, peppermint mocha lattes and stuff, and which have more calories than a cheeseburger, believe it or not.
Mega doses of sugar and milk, and there's sweeteners and stuff. If you get one of those vanilla mocha frappuccinos or whatever it is, it's oftentimes like 2,000 calories. It's like sitting down eating an entire entree at a restaurant, and people just drink it all day because you don't see the label, you don't actually care. And I want you to keep going. It also reminds me of this, though. Putin wants Russia to become the world's biggest exporter of non-GMO food, but that's not even the most important part. What most people that are covering this haven't realized is perhaps the biggest part is Putin says in this statement, the same one, that the Western food supply is basically crap. He says, we are not only able to feed ourselves, taking into account our land's water resources, Russia is able to become the largest world supplier of healthy, ecologically clean, and high-quality food. This is the important part, which the Western producers have long lost, especially given the fact that demand for such products in the world market is steadily growing. So he says they have clean food, they have ecologically clean food, they have real organic food and high-quality food, which the Western producers have long lost. So isn't it interesting that a world leader, Putin, who many would say should really be Time Magazine Man of the Year in some ways because of many different fronts, because of his massive publicity, and he's kind of outshined Obama in many ways, is saying that the Western food supply is essentially dead, devoid of any high-quality, ecologically clean and healthy food, devoid of any good organic food. And he says that Russia is going to step up and become the #1 exporter of non-GMO organic food. This is from RT, Russia Today. That is his pivotal point in saying that the Western food supply is so dead that he's going to step up and take it over. Is that not a huge attack and a glaring reality that our food supply is so destroyed that Putin from Russia is going to come in and say that the U.S. has lost it, and he's going to have a main point of his entire, really, career, it seems like, be the fact that they have real food again?
Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water, pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a hybrid chromatic shell. It removes up to 99.999% of impurities, including bacteria, viruses, fluoride, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. Filter capacity up to 5,000 gallons. Stainless steel construction, easy assembly, low maintenance. Replacement filters are simple to install. And now, as part of an exclusive limited time introductory offer, you can save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139. The knowledge of the ancients, tried and true, trusted herbs and extracts fused with the latest nutraceutical science. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of of herbal immunity. For the last 2 years, our team has been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to develop the ultimate nutraceutical formulation. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. Now is the time to secure Ancient Defense for you and your family. Visit ancientdefense.com or call 888-253-3139. That's ancientdefense.com. Introducing Secret 12, the new INFOWARS Life vitamin B12 formulation. Most forms of vitamin B12 are highly processed and synthetic and could not be properly absorbed by the body. That's why for real results, so many are having to turn to painful B12 injections, which are known to have higher absorption rates. Now, InfoWarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical-grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
And here's an excerpt from today's Alex Jones Show where Tucker Carlson made an appearance.
Are they really on their last legs? I mean, I know you're on Fox. I wouldn't call it dinosaur media because it's at least somewhat conservative, and so it has a big audience. But the others don't have audiences. They're facades. I mean, I can turn on a Facebook mentions at home and get 1.5 million viewers anytime I want. Their biggest show doesn't have 500,000. So when does the zombie finally fall down and die, or can it not die because it's already dead? Tucker Carlson.
I've never heard it put that way, but I love it. I mean, you're watching it die now, and you're watching Donald Trump benefit from its death. I mean, in my view, the worst thing about Trump is the media reaction to him, which is so hyperventilating and self-righteous. It's merely an excuse for reporters to explain that they're morally superior to Donald Trump. You know, he's a bad person. They're great people. It's a vehicle for their vanity and self-aggrandizement. It's disgusting. And, you know, there are things about Trump that I don't agree with, and there are certainly things about his rhetoric that I think ought to be more precise, that he'll explain better. But none of that really compares in emotional impact to the feeling I get watching the press whine about him and declare him dangerous. Every time I hear that, I feel like sending him money. I would be shocked if Donald Trump awoke in the middle of the night seething with hatred toward Muslims. I don't know, but I doubt it. He doesn't. I think Donald Trump is just really worried that we're going to see more terror attacks in the country. And you look at Europe and its inability over 70 years to integrate and assimilate large Muslim populations, and it does make you wonder, like, what do you know, we don't want to be Sweden or Belgium or France, so what steps do we need to take in order to not become them? That's a totally reasonable and rational conclusion to reach. So maybe you don't think that stopping all Muslim immigration is the answer, but at least the question is an essential question, and only Trump seems to be asking it. Why is that? All the attention is on how the Republican Party has changed, and it's more extreme, and, you know, it has changed in a lot of ways, but not as much as the Democratic Party has changed. The Democratic Party, from our life, we're about the same age, for our lifetimes, was the party of kind of the faculty lounge, affluent white intellectuals on college campuses, of course, of minority voters and of the poor. But it was also the party of, like, the working man. They always claimed that, and they were right, actually. The average wage earner was a Democrat because he thought the party was on his side. It is no longer that. The Democratic Party is the party of left-wing intellectuals and of people who are wholly dependent on government, who need government help. And so, of course, the Democratic Party is their natural home. There's nobody in the middle. They don't represent normal people anymore. So it's a gang. It's a gang. It's a gang. It completely is. And so without the leavening effect of normal people with jobs and families, and, you know, and maybe a week of deer hunting every fall, they have no reference points for what's normal. And the authoritarian impulse, which has always been on the left, because the left believes that politics is the way to improve the world and human nature itself. So they take politics much more seriously than the right does, for sure. That authoritarian impulse has nothing to hold it back.
That's right.
And it's in full flower. And the gun issue, I don't even talk about it much on the air because it makes me too emotional. And I become tongue-tied because it makes me so angry. But I'll just make the obvious point that I know your viewers agree with. But they're not even pretending that gun control will make the country safer, because it demonstrably won't, or prevent terrorism. It's absurd. They don't even try. They're basically just saying that anybody with a gun or certain kinds of guns is prima facie evil, which is to say they're part of another culture, one that we're not a part of, that needs to be stamped out and destroyed. And let's just go ahead and use this national crisis to hurt these people. I mean, that's kind of their open pitch. They're not even pretending anymore. It's really ominous. And I tell people who are upset, a lot of Republicans in Washington, as you know, are horrified by Trump. They hate him more than they hate Obama. He's a direct threat to their power. And I always say to them, there's a reason he's here, and that's because you have been a bad steward of this party. The president has been a bad steward of the federal government. A lot of the business community have been bad stewards of the economy. The people running things haven't done a very good job, so it shouldn't surprise you that someone like Donald Trump arrives on the scene and gets really popular by telling the truth about your failures. Like, why is that shocking? The most lasting damage they will do, though, is introducing a hard kind of ethnic politics into American life, where their appeals are explicitly racial. Republicans are white. They hate you. They don't understand you. They're unreasonably racist. This is the president's point in almost every address he gives. The real threat is bigotry here at home. It scares the hell out of people. There are a lot of non-white voters who I think are open-minded, who know they're not being served by the Democratic Party, who might be willing to look elsewhere. But they can't. Understandably, they can't, because they've been told for generations that the Republican Party hates them because of the way they look. And once you think somebody hates you, you're not open to appeals from that person or that group anymore. You shut down, right? And so they've been instrumental in creating a really tough kind of ethnic politics that doesn't go away. These wounds linger. And the one thing you don't want in your country is ethnic politics, because it's not resolvable. If you and I disagree on an issue, issues come and go. They're resolved. Our ethnicity is immutable. It doesn't change. And so if we hate each other because of our ethnic differences, our children will hate each other because of their ethnic differences. This is the story of world history. And
it's the story of the Tower of Babel, of the broken coalition strategy, where everyone's so divided and conquered, you can never agree about a Second Amendment or private property or sovereignty or anything, because you're just too obsessed over your identity politics.
Exactly. And that, man, it's a very effective way to mobilize voters, by the way. If you have a candidate like Hillary, who doesn't have a very impressive record to run on, she's not going to be running on her tenure as Secretary of State or her years as Senator from New York. I mean, there's nothing to talk about. So she's going to be running on ethnic politics, identity politics entirely. I'm a woman. My opponent is not. You're mad at your ex-husband, vote for me. Or it's time to give a woman a shot. And they're the white party. You resent them. They have things that are rightfully yours. Vote for me. Boy, that works. I mean, it'll probably get her elected, or it could get her elected in any case, but it will have effects that our grandchildren will be living with and that are very unhappy and very dangerous. What's so funny is they're in a lather this morning about the idea that he might run third party. Here's a newsflash. He already is running third party. He's already broken with Republican orthodoxy on economics. He's attacked the hedge fund people. He's broken with them on foreign policy. He's pointed out the Iraq war was a disaster. That's not allowed, but he did it anyway. He's being attacked by the head of the RNC. He's hated by donors. He's hated by lobbyists. He's hated by the entire Washington establishment and the other candidates. Or some of them say they won't vote for him.
He's
incredible. He's not running as a Republican. Here's a newsflash, and maybe that's why he's succeeding. Because and again, I've always kind of voted Republican because I don't see the choice. But the truth is the Republican coalition for 40 years has been a combination of libertarian economic policy and neoconservative foreign policy, and neither one has worked for a lot of people in the middle of the country. That's just the truth. Trump is radical because he's not tied to anyone. So take, for example, carried interest. It's a loophole in the tax code that allows some people in the finance business, hedge fund managers among others, to take their income as investment dividends. In other words, they pay half the tax that the rest of us wage earners pay. Now, this is obviously wrong. They won't even defend it in public. I'm pro-capitalist, and I'm opposed to it. It's indefensible. And yet 7 years under the Obama administration, a supposedly radical left-wing redistributionist administration, they've allowed this to remain in the tax code. They've never gone after it for 7 years, okay? It took Donald Trump to stand up, a billionaire, obviously a beneficiary of capitalism, to say, this is totally unfair.
You can't be tax exempt when housewives and working mothers and people are paying 20% tax. You can't be tax exempt, bozos. There's not going to be an economy if you keep setting the playing field where it's crooked.
Exactly. But I think people underestimate how radical it is for the Republican frontrunner to say this, or even to make an obvious point. You know, he's not attacking our soldiers or even Bush or Cheney. He's just pointing out, look, the Iraq war didn't go that well. And would you do it again? Of course not. That's a stupid question even to ask. And yet he was the only one in the Republican field who would say something that obvious. Not all changes, all change is a mix.